Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the MAXTRA electric scooter, and we're going to be seeing how to take apart this lever mechanism, just in case you have to replace any parts in it. So what we're going to need today are two different hex keys or Allen keys. Most likely this is what came with your scooter when you bought it or installing it. I'm going to take the bigger of the keys to go ahead and loosen up this hex nut here, and you're going to want to hold the back just to make sure that it's not spinning along with it. And there we go. There's the screw. It's coming on that back. Now you're going to want to go ahead and loosen all this up. It's going to come out anyway. And then we're going to pull this bolt back. There we go. Okay, so this is going to fit and to come back here, and we can go ahead and take this piece off now. And then we're going to go ahead and use that smaller of the hex keys. Go ahead and remove this piece right here. And you can see I'm just using the hex key to hold this back up and taking that out. Go ahead and screw the lever here. Next piece on that, so the protruding end is going to go back onto that nut this way. Okay, that flat end is going to face the back of here when you're putting them together. Pull this out. You got a spring. See that protruding end. There's this piece. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and take off this top piece. And I'm just using this hex key to do it. You might have another tool that you can kind of use to pry. Matter of fact, I think they gave us a screwdriver, didn't they? So I think that might be an easier tool that I'm going to use. I'm going to use that flat head end here and just kind of use that to pry that out. Okay. Okay, so we've gotten all those parts off. We just took off that housing cap at the top, and then we're going to go and take this piece out here, the lever itself, right? And you can see that little point there. That's what's going to push into the spring later on. So let me get that spring out so we can show you. And there's that big spring. Oh, there it went. There you go. Okay. So these would be the components of that lever system now that we've had it disassembled and taken apart. Okay, so it might be a case that you might end up having to replace one of these springs, or you might have to replace one of these fasteners. Whatever the case may be, there's a mechanism deconstructed. So when we're putting it back together, first thing you're going to go ahead and do is take that big spring and just house that right there. And then we're going to take our lever, and we're going to have to go ahead and get that spring, the top of the spring, through this part of the lever here, that pointy end. So I'm going to take the Allen key I had here. I'm going to reach through on this side. I'm just going to go ahead and use that to fasten and pull that spring back for me. Make sure that that lever, that pointy end is facing down, it's facing onto the top. And then we're going to go ahead and just insert that in there. And I missed it. That's okay, guys. You might miss it too. It's okay, don't get frustrated. Just pull it back, slide that through, and then just kind of, see, there we go. Play with it until you get it in there. So now you see I've got that, that lever hooked up to the spring, a little pointy end into the front there. Okay. All right. So then, now what I'm gonna go ahead and do, all right, so once we've gotten that lever back onto that big spring, you're gonna go ahead and take the smaller of those two screws. Remember we had the bigger set that's gonna go on the bottom here. You're gonna take those, and that's gonna go right through here. So you're gonna wanna head and line up your lever. There we go. So I'm gonna push it back to make sure that I can see that hole there. Okay. And as I do, I'm gonna go ahead and slide in my screw. There we go. Onto one side. We're gonna come back with the screw end here. I'm gonna fasten them together. All right. Looks like we got that in pretty good. Go ahead and use my Allen key here to tighten it up. And I'm just holding on the back there to kind of keep it from spinning too much so I can get a bite. All right. There we go. It might spin a little bit on the back. Just keep at it unless you have a backup, which I happen to do, and if you do, you can go ahead and just back it up on the other end without using your finger there and make the job a little bit quicker, but there you go. Okay. Now that we've gotten that piece back in there, I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall our clip here. So if you remember, the first thing you're gonna do when you're putting this back together, take this housing cap, you got that flat end, and then you've got this end right here with that curve. That curved end is gonna come up, and you want it to sit, and it should fit right there around that curve, the ball of that joint there, okay? And then you've got this piece, you got that flat end and the protruding end. The flat end's gonna go down. You've got your spring. Now you've got your spring in there, okay? So we're gonna go on this end, right through here. If you notice on that lever, you'll see a little hole there like a trigger. It's gonna go right through there, okay? That's where it's gonna sit. You come back here, remember that protruding end is gonna go down first. In this case, you want that flat to be next to this, the knob, okay? So that protruding end is gonna go down first to touch the spring, and then we come back here, okay? And that's gonna screw right onto there to the top. Okay. I don't have to tighten it all the way right now. I can, but it's not meant for that. And we come back with our housing case. And we're gonna wanna sit that right through here. You're gonna wanna make sure that that hole lines up, just like that. And we come back. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and take these two pieces right here, and we're gonna connect back to our main frame here. So probably the best way is maybe we just slide that sideways, and then we're gonna go ahead and just finagle it until we've lined up those holes. And just so you know, if you did the same thing I did right now, you might have tightened this down too much, and you're not getting it in. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you have room, because what I want to show you here, I made this mistake a second ago, is as I tightened down this piece, right, I couldn't get it to fit in snug. So what you're looking at here is you want to have that room in there, because this, that little part where we had that protruding, that's going to sit in this little casing here, if that makes sense to you. So I'm just keeping it kind of loose, and now we've got it set in there. Okay, we can come back and tighten this up in a second, but the thing is, this is going to tighten to this frame. So if you tighten all the way to this frame, you're going to probably have trouble not figuring out how come you can't get it to sit in. So just line up those holes, patient with yourself. There we go. I'm just gonna work it in there. All right, now that we've got that in, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back up, and I'm gonna come to the other side. I'm taking this screw here, and I'm gonna screw it right into this other side. And it feels like I've got a bite. So I'm just using my hand here to screw it in. Let it sit on the kickstand. And we're gonna go and take this X key again, the larger of them, fit in there. And there you go, you get it screwed nice and tight. And essentially that's how you would assemble this back together. At this point, we can loosen up our little knob here. Pull our lever down, and that'll close it. And then once you've done that, you would tighten this back up so to keep it locked in. Now when you're ready to bring it back up, if you want to open it again, go ahead and lock it up, tighten this. Okay, now I have it tight. Okay, now I want to bring it back up, and go ahead and loosen this piece again. Pull that lever down, and now we've opened it back up and we've locked it in. And once again, you'll go ahead and lock this. You just tighten that up, and you pull that lever back. Now, remember just to find that right tension for it so you don't break anything. And that would be it. Now it's nice and tight and locked and ready to go.